The astronomer entered the dining room with decorum. He felt very much the guest. He said, "Where are the youngsters? My son isn't in his room." The industrialist smiled. "They've been out for hours. However, breakfast was forced into them among the women some time ago, so there's nothing to worry about. Youth, doctor, youth." Youth. The word seemed to depress the astronomer. They ate breakfast in silence. The industrialist said once, "You really think they'll come? The day looks so normal." "Oh, they will come." And that was all. Afterward, the industrialist said, "You'll pardon me. I can't conceive you're playing such an elaborate hoax. You really spoke to them?" "As I speak to you, at least in a sense, they can project their thoughts." "I gathered that must be so from your letter. How, though, I wonder?" "I could not say. I asked them, and of course they were vague. Or perhaps it was just that I couldn't understand. It involves a projector for focusing of the thought, and even more than that, conscious attention on the part of both the projector and the receptor. It was quite a while before I realized that they were trying to think at me. Such thought projectors may be part of a science that they will give us." "Perhaps," said the industrialist. "Yet think of the changes that it would bring to society. A thought projector." "Well, why not? Change would be good for us." "I'm not so sure." "It is only in old age that change is unwelcome," said the astronomer. "And races can be old as well as individuals." The industrialist pointed out the window. "You see that road? It was built before the wars. Now, I don't know exactly when. It's as good now the day that it was built. We couldn't possibly duplicate that now. The race was young when they built that, eh?" "Then, yes. At least they weren't afraid of new things." "No, now I wish they had been. Where's the society of before the wars? Destroyed, doctor. What good were youth and new things? We're better off now. The world is peaceful and jogs along. The race goes nowhere, but after all, there's nowhere to go. They proved that. The men who built that road. I'll speak with your visitors as I agreed if they come, but I think that I will only ask them to go." "The race is not going nowhere," the astronomer said earnestly. "It's going towards a final destruction. My university has a smaller student body every year. Fewer books are written, less work is done. An old man sleeps in the sun, and his days are peaceful and unchanging. But each day finds him nearer to death all the same." "Well, well," said the industrialist. "No, don't dismiss it. Listen. Before I wrote to you, I investigated your position in the planetary economy." "And you found me solvent?" "Why, yes. Oh, I see. No, you're joking." "No, perhaps the joke isn't that far off. You're actually less solvent than your father, and he was less solvent than his father. Perhaps your son will no longer be solvent. It becomes too much troublesome for the planet to support even the industries that still exist. Though they're toothpicks to the oak tree of the before the wars. We'll be back to a village economy, and then to what? The caves?" "And the infusion of fresh technology and knowledge will be the changing of all that?" "Not just new knowledge. Rather the whole effect of change, the broadening of horizons. Look, sir, I chose you to approach in this matter not only because you were rich and influential with government officials, but because you have an unusual reputation. Well, for these days. You dare to break with tradition. Our people will resist change, and you would know how to handle them, how to see to it that, well, that "That the youth of the race is revived?" Well, yes, with its atomic bombs." "The atomic bombs," returned the astronomer, "need not be the end of civilization. These visitors of mine had their atomic bomb, or whatever their equivalent was on their own worlds, and yet they survived it because they didn't give up. Don't you see? It wasn't the bomb that defeated us, but our own shell shock. This may be the last chance to reverse that process.
Tell me, said the industrialist, what do these friends from space want in return?
The astronomer hesitated, and he said, I will be truthful with you. They come from a denser planet. Ours is richer in the lighter atoms.
They want magnesium? Aluminum?
No, sir. Carbon and hydrogen. They want coal and oil.
Really?
The astronomer said quickly, You're going to ask why creatures who have mastered space travel and therefore atomic power would want coal and oil. I cannot answer that.
The industrialist smiled. But I can. This is the best evidence yet of the truth of your story. Superficially, atomic power would seem to preclude all use of coal and oil. However, quite apart from the energy gained by their combustion, they remain, and always will remain, the basic raw material of all organic chemistry. Plastics, dyes, pharmaceuticals, solvents. Industry could not exist without them, and even in this atomic age. Still, if coal and oil are the low price for which they would sell us the troubles and tortures of a racial youth, my answer is that the commodity would be dear if it was offered gratis.
The astronomer sighed and said, They're the boys.
They were visible through the open window, standing at the grassy field, and lost in an animated conversation. The industrialist's son pointed imperiously, and the astronomer's son nodded and made off at a run towards the house. The industrialist said, There is the youth you speak of. Our race has had much of it as it ever has had.
Yes, but we age them quickly, and we pour them into the mold. Slim scuttled into the room, door banging behind him. The astronomer said in mild disapproval, What's this? Slim looked up in surprise and came to a halt. I beg your pardon. I didn't know that anyone was here. I'm sorry to have interrupted.
The industrialist said, It's all right, youngster.
But the astronomer said, Even if you had been entering an empty room, son, there would be no cause for slamming the door.
Nonsense, insisted the industrialist. The youngster has done no harm. You simply scold him for being young. You, with your views. He said to Slim, Come here, lad. Slim advanced slowly. So how do you like the country, eh?
Very much, sir. Thank you.
My son has been showing you around the place, has he?
Yes, sir. Red, I mean...
No, call him Red. I call him that myself. Now tell me, what are you two up to, eh?
Slim looked away. Why, just exploring, sir.
The industrialist turned to the astronomer. There you are. Youthful curiosity and adventure lust. The race has not yet lost it.
Slim said, Sir?
Yes, lad?
The youngster took a long time getting on with it, and he finally said, Red sent me in for something good to eat, but I don't know exactly what he meant, and I didn't like to say so.
Why, just go ask Cook. She'll have something good for young uns to eat.
Oh, no, sir, I meant for animals.
For animals?
Yes, sir. What do animals eat?
The astronomer said,
I'm afraid my son is city-bred.
Well, the industrialist said, there's no harm in that. What kind of animal, lad?
Well, a small one.
Then try grass or leaves, and if they don't want that, nuts or berries would probably do the trick.
Thank you, sir. Slim ran out again, closing the door gently behind him. The astronomer said, Do you suppose they've trapped an animal alive? He was obviously perturbed.
Well, that's common enough. There's no shooting on my estate, and it's a tame country full of rodents and small creatures. Red is always coming home with pets of one sort or another. They rarely maintain his interest for very long.
He looked at the wall clock. Your friends should have been here by now, shouldn't they have?